So we've created our main carcass of our project now. What I'd like to do is organise our components. So this is everything that we need to create in Woodwork. So all the individual pieces we'll need to make before we glue them together. What I'm going to do is come up here and go create component. And this component we're going to call external carcass. And then I'm going to select the, got two of them, I'll just delete that one, sorry. I'm going to select, using the shift button, clicking all of our pieces, or the top one and the bottom one, and we're going to drag them all into that. So that's created a sub-assembly. You can see the symbol has changed a little bit to show you that there's several components within that sub-assembly. Next thing we're going to do is create the drawer. So we want to make the drawer another sub-assembly. Just make sure you've got an ER on your drawer. It's an easy mistake to make with spelling. Spelled two different ways. And once you've got that component, we don't want to draw in that component. We want to create another one. It'll be clearer once we get started. So new component, and this one here we're going to call draw side. To think about it for a sec. So we're going to actually create the component in that one. This drawer is our complete drawer sub-assembly once we've added all the components within it. So we can make a start with that little activation dot activated. We're going to create a sketch. We're going to sketch on this component. We're going to create a rectangle starting at the corner there. And before you click this spot here, we want to be on the internal of the cabinet, like on the inside of that edging we added earlier. We want to be 90 high, and we want to be 376. So that's our rectangle for the edging. Now we're going to finish that sketch and extrude. We're going to extrude at 19. The reason why we don't use 19 by 90 or 90 by 19 is that's going to be our final, well, that's going to be our standard stock of pine that we use for creating this drawer in Woodwork. So we've got our piece here. Even though we drew it on the side here, it's not locked in position. As soon as I move it, I can move it away. So we intentionally move it quite a way away from where we drew it. And we're going to do a sliding joint. So click join, capture position. Then we're going to go motion and slider, and then back to position. The first thing that we want to choose is the piece that's going to move. So we'll select the draw side to start with, and then we're going to come down and we're going to select cabinet. So you can see the drawer has moved down to the cabinet. I selected the internal part of the cabinet, and we're going to click OK to that. Sorry, before we click OK, I'm going to click this one here. I'm going to move it out 1.5 millimeters. That's just going to give it a little bit of a gap. So when I look from the front, just so it doesn't jam as it's opening and closing, it's going to do 1.5 mil either side. The next thing to do with this one, while it's still activated here, we're going to click on the front and we're going to create a little rebate, little housing for where the bottom of the drawer is going to slide in. So I'm using the rectangle tool. I've clicked on the edge. I'm going to go 6, tab 6, and enter. And I'm going to press D for dimension, or select my dimension tool and click between there and there. Sorry to zoom in so I can see a little bit more. And we're going to create that to be 6 millimeters as well. I'm going to finish that sketch, and we're going to now extrude that out. And we're going to extrude it the whole distance. distance. So I'm going to drag my arrow slightly that way, and then where it says distance, I'm going to go to all. So that selects the all. It's really good to click all because that way, if you change the size of this later, it will expand with the size that you change your draw to. So we have got a single side that slides backwards and forwards. The next thing to do is to duplicate that. So we're going to copy, and we're going to activate the drawer, and we'll paste it in here. So just do a paste, not a paste new. I'm going to drag it out slightly, and then I'm going to rotate it 180 degrees, and I'm going to click OK. Then we're going to do that same join that does the sliding motion. So sliding motion, position, we're going to click the center of the piece that we want to move, and then where we want it to move to. Now I think that's okay. We're going to move it slightly inwards, so minus 1.5. So we've got our two sliders in. Whoops, I didn't mean to move that. I'm working without a mouse again, so it's a little bit clunky. We are going to now draw the front and the back. So disconnected again, or sorry, the activation dot selected for the drawer subassembly. Then right click and go. We are going to go new component. Then we're going to select for this one, draw front, and then we're going to select where we want to start that component and create a sketch. This time we're going to do 90 by 19, but in the opposite direction. So 90 by 19, enter. We are going to zoom in on this because this time we're going to draw that little 6 by 6 high before we do anything else. Try not to click any points where it will reference here, so sometimes that one's already connected to this one. So if I press escape and click that dot, you can see the reference lines already selected. I've just deleted them by pressing delete. I'm going to right click this one and go to 6. 6 up from the bottom, and it's going to be 6 high here. Now I'm going to finish that sketch. I'm going to go extrude. I'll zoom out a little bit so you can see it. I'll select those two profiles, and I'm going to extend it. I'll work around so we can see where we're extending it to. We're going to select to object, and we're going to select that other side. Press enter, and it should go forward. Now this got a problem here, so we'll go back in and we'll right click and we'll go edit feature. We'll see what's going on. So you can see that it didn't select this component properly, so that's looking better now. So it's only selected those two profiles. And what happens if we OK that? You can see now it's the piece that we want. So that's our draw front. To finish this one off, we've got to do 2 more steps. So we want to copy this piece and we want to paste it in here. So paste it into the subassembly. We're going to draw front 2, we'll activate it, we'll move it. We're going to spin it around 180 degrees. and push it to the back. Now you're not going to align it up perfectly this time. Sometimes it's better if it's misaligned a little bit, because the final step, so OK, I'll enter. The final step is to zoom in on this, activate our draw, and our front and our back aren't connected properly. So if I move them, they don't move with the draw. So we're going to go to join, capture position, and double check that it's gone back to rigid. And then we are going to select our position. So zoom right in, that one, and the corresponding mark. You flip it over. Now that's not equal, so I'm going to cancel that and we'll try again. So let's try that. So join, and go capture position, that one there to the center of that one, flip, cancel that, and we'll try one more time. It's probably just the way it's been drawn. Obviously that there is not the center of this one here, or I'm just not getting it quite in the right spot where I'm selecting it. So I'll abandon the idea of going to that corner, that center. There's always several ways of doing it in Fusion. So we'll go to this corner here now, and we'll try and join that to this corner here. We're going to flip, and that's looking better. So I've done that corner. We're smart about it, it should line up with the other side already. So I'll do the opposite corner here and we'll see if we can move it. So join, so now we're looking at the back. I'm going to do that corner there. To that corner there, and flip. Okay, we'll check that the draw moves all as one. We just set it up as a slider. So lots of errors tonight doing this video, but we'll go back in here and try rigid. And now hopefully those two move together. So zoom in on the opposite side. Check that it's rigid this time. Accidentally clicked the top corner, but that should work as long as it's corresponding to the other one. And now that should move back and forward. So once again, missed one here, so I'll go back in here and edit this feature and make it rigid instead. Let's try it for the final time. Finally, we've got it to move back and forward. So sorry for that video, it's a little bit confusing, but we've got it all working now. That's our kind of draw carcass. Now we're looking to do a draw front, a draw base, and a draw back, and then we'll have the main woodwork part of this project done.